A little unhinged, sure. But now I'm also unstoppable. The ballsy badass isn't just back, she has evolved. And this time, nothing, and I mean nothing, can shake me.
Initially, Shotzi Blackheart was moved to WWE's alumni section. Then it was confirmed last night that WWE has informed Shotzi they will not be renewing her contract when it comes up. To which I'm the big sad. Cancel Halloween Havoc forever because it ain't gonna be the same without her. And to which I also say, Tatum Paxley, do not pick up the phone. Her husband, Big Body Harvey, and two stablemates, Shotzi and Gigi, have been released, please. We also found out that NXT's Dani Palmer was released too, where she took to Instagram to thank everyone for the last 3 years. Shotzi being fired absolutely sucks though. I feel like they never truly took advantage of how fun she is to watch in the ring, and more importantly, how charismatic she is. Entire appearance and energy mixed between being spunky and chaotic and that green hair. So may I remind the jury, she entered on a fucking tank. She is one of those women I feel like will have a generational revival of her career in the indies, and God knows she's earned it.
It's about having the guts to face your demons. It's about standing tall, even when you feel like you've got nothing left.
And let me know your wrestling hot takes down in the comments below. It can be current day or it can be in history, and you'll have a chance of being in the next episode. Imagine the feud Deonte DDJ could have had with Braun Strowman. The only person I'm trying to get those hands from is Stephanie Vicaire. Anyway, releasing Cora Jade and Dakota Kai was the right move. So much talent in a company, and there are people you can't rely on due to injury, such as Cora and Dakota. Probably is the right choice to release them. Plus, they will probably both have success in other companies. So while I don't agree with the idea of people being unceremoniously fired and losing their livelihoods, obviously that sucks. See where you're coming from when it comes to releasing injury-prone talent. I mean, from that point of view, they're just paying people to get injured all the time. It was painted as more of a, oh, these people are getting injured all the time and we're just paying them to sit on the sidelines. I controversially kind of understand. At the same time, when it comes to injuries, it's not necessarily their fault either. When Cody comes back, he shouldn't be inserted back into the title picture. He should rebuild himself but turn heel while doing it. Ooh. You know, the thing with that Cody heel turn is it feels inevitable, but I don't know when it's going to happen. And I also hope that they have it a bit more planned out than the Cena heel turn. But I don't necessarily think they're going to turn him heel anytime soon. I think when he comes back, it's still going to be the same Cody that we've known, you know, the same Cody that was champion for a year. Or what was apparently rumored was the idea of Cody being Cena's final opponent at Ruthless Aggression in December. And then Cody wins the title back and he takes it into WrestleMania 42, to which I'm not thrilled about that idea. I don't think that would be a good idea. I think the only way you really make that interesting in doing Cody on the road to WrestleMania as champion again is to have him beat Cena in his final match, and then he goes on to face Punk in the main event of Night 2, WrestleMania 42 in New Orleans. I mean, either that or facing Sami Zayn. The fumbling of Shayna's main roster run needs to be studied. She needs to go to GCW. It fits her. DDJ forever. First of all, thank you. And second of all, I can see Shayna Baszler going to GCW. It kind of fits her aesthetic already. But I agree with you. I think her main roster run should be studied. Because genuinely, I don't understand how you go ahead and fumble Shayna's main roster run that bad when she was like that in NXT. She was really like that. It's genuinely baffling. It's the same with guys like Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic and all these other guys that were really good in NXT from that era. Like, it's incredible how you fumble it. LA Knight's finisher is garbage, and he should have been released instead of Braun Strowman. Dean Ambrose used to use it, and he changed it because it's weak. Why not Night 2? You know what? I don't think he should have been fired, but I agree with you partially. I do agree. I'm not a huge fan of the BFT just because for me, it never really impacts. No one really sells it right. It just doesn't, I don't know. It is weak. Like, obviously wrestling is scripted, but you still want to kind of believe that these wrestling finishing moves are actually finishing them off.
I'm gonna fight
but
all
then you
these
go
nerds.
ahead and look at a move like the Rose Plant, for example, like the Overdrive, or you look at a move like the BFT and you're like, this doesn't even, I'm not even, why? And you talk about Dean Ambrose, I'd love to see LA Knight embody a bit more of a Dirty Deeds 2 finisher, you know, because that's an impactful finisher. Hangman Adam Page is way more valuable than the Young Bucks and should be King of the Mountain at AEW. I agree so much. And he is also one of those guys that I would kill to see go to WWE just to be on a bigger platform, because God, he deserves it. Because there are few wrestlers over the last couple of years where I've truly invested and believed and enjoyed their character work as much as Hangman Adam Page. WWE is falling off ever since 2025 started. I disagree. It's better to let stars go so they can do what they love and make a name for themselves than to just let them sit in catering doing nothing. I kind of agree. I don't want to see people losing their livelihood, especially in a company that keeps bragging about doing record numbers and breaking gates and everything, because realistically you don't need to do budget cuts if that is a fact. And I fear with the TKO merger that this is going to be a regular occurrence of this kind of cycle, sadly. But if we're talking strictly about people just not being on TV and also not being allowed to wrestle and, you know, perfect their craft, then that much I do agree with. And at the end of the day, some wrestlers are perfectly okay with just accepting a paycheck and eating food backstage, but a lot of these wrestlers want to wrestle, so I say let them go wrestle. Releasing Dakota Kai was the right move. They weren't utilizing her the way she could have been utilized. She is great and will do great things in other companies. I agree. I think she'll land on her feet, and I think she'll have a great career post WWE, and they might even bring her back someday. What if Deonte made a debut on DPW and joins Chris Danger and BDE to make a stable to put in seats for DPW, and they'll be known as the Fame Syndicate? How about instead of, you know, we hurt people, for the Fame Syndicate, we'll just enter to Puddle of Mud's famous. Cora Jade being released was beyond idiotic. I understand being injury prone, but if we can have that stupid Nepo baby Ava, who has only wrestled once and stunk up the place, why can't Cora be an authority figure or a manager? Hey, yo, chill on my girl Ava, okay? She does a good job as the NXT general manager, what the? But if I'm thinking in the WWE mindset, I'm thinking, okay, we're about to call these two, Cora and Roxanne, up to main roster, but is it a better idea to not go ahead and risk all this investment in her being on main roster if she's just gonna go ahead and get injured as soon as she gets called up anyway? Also, Indy Hartwell joked about Cora Jade starting an OnlyFans, and I just want to say I do not approve of that. I do not want to see, I will not. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena shouldn't have been the main event. It should have been either Rhea, Io, and Bianca, or even Jay versus Gunther, which I personally think was underrated. You know, I don't think it was underrated. I think it was perfectly fine. I don't think it would have been a great main event, although the idea of Gunther getting a main event under his belt is something I would have liked to see. And then when it comes to Jey Uso, depending on how you feel about night one being a valid main event or not, Jey Uso's already main evented WrestleMania. But I agree with you. If we knew Cody versus Cena was going to be that average, I would have easily gone with one of the other matches. But also, when you look at how they thought about it, obviously John Cena's final WrestleMania, winning number 17, it was about the moment, you know what I mean? Current Andrade WWE run is worse than his AEW run. If I speak. I don't think Andrade, for one, is ever going to be a world champion on main roster. I don't think he's that caliber of a superstar. I think NXT champion Andrade, if we could get that version of him back with Zelina Vega, then maybe. But you are going to have to do a lot for me to re-see him as that version. Andrade, Cien Almas, you know, El Idolo. Because that right there, for me, that was a main event. And if we still had that version, absolutely. But I feel like the damage has been so heavily done to his character and to his aura that it's at a point now where I can't ever see him even winning another mid-card title. I'm like, incredibly talented, I want to see him doing more, but I don't know if we ever will. Releasing Shayna was a huge fumble. Just looking at her NXT run, everyone knew that she was great. Everyone seemed to have forgotten how good she was because of the horrendous booking that she received. Wholeheartedly agree. How does WWE expect to have a women's mid-card and tag team if they get rid of all the mid-carders and kill any tag teams they have? Whether it be Cora and Roxanne, or the Meta 2, or Chemical X, or even Kaden and Katana, they went ahead and just destroyed so many of their women's tag teams, and you'll wonder why women's wrestling is so skewed across the company. It's because you guys never take it seriously for a long period of time. And then that goes ahead and reflects on the crowd. Like, you look at that Lyra and Becky segment from Raw this past week, they're chanting, "What?" Now, granted, that's just any average obnoxious crowd, but it also kind of builds into the way you've treated Lyra as an IC champion. You don't have her defend at WrestleMania. You have that weird booking with the Becky heel turn. You have Chelsea lose it in a weird way. If you are not going to go ahead and take the women seriously, then nobody else is. I think Logan Paul is one of the greatest athletes ever in a ring, and the disrespect should stop. The way he has transitioned and so well fit into WWE is something that you can't go ahead and ignore. Say what you will about his person or his drama in the past, but Logan Paul is a genuine thoroughbred, and it is only a matter of time before he is a world champion. The women deserve more care from the writers or whoever is in charge of storyline. The women's in-ring work is consistently better than than the men's in my opinion, and for that I think they deserve Cody versus Roman level storyline. Women's World Heavyweight Championship triple threat could have main evented WrestleMania 41 easily. For me, one of the biggest problems when it comes to women's wrestling is the inconsistent treatment week to week, because you can have those headlines and those big moments, but if you're not consistently treating them as well as the men, then they're never going to be taken as seriously as you should be taking them. And honestly, it's 2025. I don't see why the writers can't go ahead and write consistently good women's storylines and treat them just the same as the men, because again, it's 2025. The Rock is in with Heyman, and it's not just the throat slash Rollins did on Monday. Ooh. This is exactly what I said. There's something going on here. There's something bigger to this. Because think about it, Roman got turned on by Paul. Paul betrayed Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns and The Rock had that little thing. What if The Rock stabbed Roman in the back and caused him everything at WrestleMania in the main event through Paul, and The Rock is actually being the puppet master of this new faction? Not NXT, Raw, or SmackDown, but I hate the way Deonte ends his videos with just a cut